Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. 4 Polish pianists have advanced to the second stage of the 19th International Frederic Chopin Piano Competition in Warsaw, joining 36 other musicians from around the world. Now, the first performer has just started his concert at 10 a.m. Now, from Poland to Asia and beyond, these musicians are bringing Chopin's timeless music to life on the global stage. Now, to help us explore the competition, its challenges, and its cultural significance, we're joined now in the studio by Karolina Shapland, culture editor at TVP World. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning.
Delighted to be here.
So, culture is what you live and breathe. I think this is a particularly nice foray into culture. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty, where are we right now with this competition? What's ahead? How did it all come about? What's next?
What's next? Well, we are now in stage 2. Stage 2 is really, really important because I feel, apart from the musical side, stage 2 is where you really attach yourself emotionally to one of the contestants. You have your favorites, and it's not just me. And what's so special about this competition, its significance in Poland, that it's not just something for music, classical music buffs. This competition really unites Poles, and especially people from Warsaw. You know, this competition is running from 1927. So if you were born and bred in this city, you remember not just this competition, but the competitions past. You remember the craze around Christine Zimmermann, Marta Argerich. And, it's just a very emotional thing for us. I can't imagine in any other competition, whether in France or UK, whether the gossip magazines are writing about the contestants, and not just what they're wearing, but actually what they're playing. I was in an Uber taxi coming here, and we were talking about Chopin Piano Competition. Who's your favorite? Who do you think will win? It is a whole thing.
Yeah, we were doing that even in the hallways, I remember, not so long ago. And what we're seeing now for our viewers, I mean, this is actually live footage right now. As we said, today is another one of those days we're hearing this. And what I'm struck by this, as you mentioned already, there are other competitions out there in the world, but this one is unique. Tell me a little bit more about, for Poles it matters, that makes sense, there's more history to that in Chopin, but how, and what's your view, how does this resonate and connect so much with the outside world, with other countries? Because there's many different competitors, not just from Poland, involved in all this.
No, Chopin is particularly resonant in Asia. It started in Japan. Now the fad is kind of growing in China. So we have many, many contestants from China, many of them, obviously, statistically. If in a first round you had 84 contestants and, 20, almost 30 were Chinese, statistically it is quite obvious that many will go to the second round. But does it really matter? It doesn't, I know people are always, because that's also what's really important to know, that this competition was modeled on a sporting event. And like it or not, and some people don't like it, that sort of checking the statistics, but that's how people treat it. So there is at the moment a bit of an outcry that there are only 4 contestants from Poland.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, moving to the second round. In that COVID 2021 edition, there were 9 Poles and 8 contestants since 2015. But does it really matter? The 4 that got through are really strong, really, technically superb, confident pianists. So maybe we shouldn't look at the numbers, maybe we should look at the personalities and the qualities. We all have our favorites.
So speaking of personalities, though, so while we're on the Polish team, as if you will, who are maybe some of the front runners, some names you can tell us about?
Well, I love, and I will double check my names from my notes, and the reason for it, again, like with sport, there are so many Chopin competition nerds who are checking the statistics. And Yehuda Prokopowicz is my favorite because not only he is very young, 20 years old, not only he is just superbly accomplished technically, there is this lightness to his touch. It's it's a very stressful competition. And the two of the Polish forerunners from the first round, Basista and Dubiel, I think the nerves just they were very good, but it's the nerves that got the better of them. And the way they were playing, I'm not saying I was suffering when I was listening to them, but you just felt that tension. With the young Yehuda, he just, he's having a ball. It's just so lovely to hear his confidence on and off stage. My second favorite is Piotr Pawlak, because he's a true man of Renaissance. Not only he's a pianist and a jolly good one, he's a mathematician, he's a programmer, his passion is robotics and AI, so just a superb nerd all round. The smart money though is on Piotr Aleksevich, and a lot of, I'm not a musical specialist, so for me it's more about how it sounds like, what are the audience, you sit there,
right?
The emotions, and you sit in the audience and you can just feel the audience being astounded. That sort of a moment where just you collective jaw drop. And when people remember that was good. But Piotr Aleksevich, everybody said, and Adam Kałduński, just very, very solid, solid.
Karolina, you said it was you painted it in a negative light, but I think it's kind of interesting. As a kind of sporting event, a lot of statistics, and I think this matters. At the same time, you mentioned that some of these, let's say the cadre of Poles involved has shrunk a little bit. We don't want to say that, well, there's lack of talent, by no means. But I'm just curious, could that not be, and let's invert it and say, there's just been more competition also from other countries simply. The fact, as you alluded to earlier, is that because this is just growing more in significance and let's say
Absolutely. And if you think, and actually this competition is run by the National Frederic Chopin Institute, and they do an amazing job at putting so much of content online, and you can listen to the pianists talking about their life and what Chopin means to them. And something that if you listen to the contestant coming from Asia, they do start playing at 3 or 4 years old. This is they practice for 6 hours from when they are 4 years old. That gives you an amazing technical advantage. And I know people love to say that there is this Polish spirit in Chopin, and the implication is only a Pole can understand that. But actually, if you speak, and I did speak to many Japanese people in the audience, and they say Chopin is universal. The melody, the lyricism of Chopin just touches your soul in a way that anybody can understand. So if you join that genius of Chopin and the Asian sort of I know it just sounds like a bit of a cliche, but that attention to discipline and practice, obviously they will field a huge, strong team. And Sasha, I love the nerdy statistics, so that's
fine
not
with us, yeah.
That's not negative. And when you're in the audience, that's some our viewers may not know that, but what you do is you buy yourself that huge chunky book, the Chopin competition this year, and you sit there and annotate, and you can see it. Every third person in the audience does it. So they have a big book, they listen, and they just annotate, what they think about performances. It just it's magical.
So forget Eurovision. This is really where it's at. I
Absolutely,
think, in that sense, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And just like with Eurovision, you don't have to be there. And in fact,
I was going to say, because tickets, they snap out, in 20, 30 minutes, right?
Gone.
And limited space. I mean, the venue itself is beautiful. I mean, I also just want to say, for Polish culture, as you said earlier, this is important for Warszawians, for Poles, but as I said, it resonates with other cultures, other people, far afield, that music is universal. So if it's universal in that sense, and you haven't snapped up that ticket in those 20 minutes, how can someone now be part of this action, annotate from their home screen? How do you follow it?
Well, first, there are those last-minute tickets, and again, this is part of the ritual of the Chopin International Competition. So you queue. So today, from 7 in the morning, the queue started for those last-minute so-called standing tickets. And because in this stage, pianists play for 40 to 50 minutes. There is a break in between, so you have to be just tenacious, because at some point, you know, you will be let in, you know, maybe not for the first performance, not the second, but you will get in. And then all of the content is beautifully, beautifully filmed online in real time.
Just like now, we're watching that now.
Which is wonderful. Then there are many events around the city. So in my favorite place, which is called Nowa Miodowa on Rakowiecka Street, which is one of Warsaw conservatoires, and there is all of the contestants actually play in the evening special concerts in a stunning hall that is only 2 years old, designed by the Japanese. Amazing place. So yeah, you can access. Warsaw lives Chopin, and it will live so for next what, 2 weeks.
Absolutely, that's nice. And I think just one final point, the last one, the big final moment. When is that? When will we know who gets crowned the winner out of?
Oh gosh, you know, we can't jump there yet. This is the second stage.
Right.
Then we have my favorite third stage. So in this stage, the pianists are playing mostly the polonaise, the preludes plus one extra. Then is the next stage where they all play the same, which is amazing. Can you imagine? You see the same piece played by 4 pianists. You know, the nuance you get there. And then there is the fourth stage, and then on the 20th of October is the big final, and we'll hear the result on the 21st.
So, but I think up until then, as you said, today online, where you can follow this magical tour de force of music, and you should. If you haven't already, you should at the same time. Look, thank you so much, Karolina Shapland there. Thanks for bringing a little bit of this culture out to the world.
The pleasure is mine.
And thank you for watching. My name is Sasha Farbach, and continue to stay with us here on TVP World for Moon and Commentary. Goodbye.